Hi, everyone. Pravit, and good afternoon from Unit City. My name is Jennifer Sidary, and I am the host of this today. We're here to talk about the Ukrainian Showroom that was presented in September during New York Fashion Week in support, of course, of the fabulous USAID Competitive Economy Program. We have some incredible speakers today, and you're going to get to learn a lot about how they felt about the New York Fashion Week and the successes that they had as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our speakers. The first one is the reason this grant is happening. Her name is Tanya Abramova. She is the founder of RITO and 91 Lab. Some of my favorite collections, of course. And she's here with us today. And then we're also going to talk to Alina Kachorovska. Now, if you live in Ukraine, I can promise you that you have a pair of Kachorovska footwear in your closet, as I do. Some of my favorite shoes to wear for sure. And then we're going to talk to Iryna from FOBERINI. FOBERINI is an incredible Ukrainian fashion brand that focuses on the Vyshyvanka. And as everyone that's tuning in knows, the Vyshyvanka is the Ukrainian tradition. So she's basically keeping it alive. And so here we go. So we're here today. We're going to reflect a bit on what happened. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the next opportunity to possibly showcase your brand in New York City in February. So I'm going to first talk to Tanya. She's here with me today. I mean, I think your brand has been around for 25 years?
Little change, 30.
Oh, 30 years.
30
years. Okay. And if you could just tell everyone, how is it that you got in partnership with USAID, and how did this all begin for you?
Ну, по-перше, знаєте, в нас дуже багато.
First of all, everybody in our society, we have a lot of, anxiety. When we started our company, we never were given grants. For me, it was rather strange to come to somebody to ask for money. You must earn them. If you couldn't earn money, then you failed as a businessman. And when we have already had certain tremendous experience, we all of a sudden ran into a program, Competitive Ukraine. And for a couple of years, we've already ran our brand shop in the center of Vilnius. It was very interesting for us. Our self-esteem rocketed after that, so we understood that our items were on demand, high demand in Europe. So as soon as we saw this program, we thought to ourselves, why not? Why not be risky? Because you know that risky is something noble. So we filled in the application. We submitted application to the USAID, and we had a great wow effect. So we understood that yes, we are in. Let us be candid with everybody. Every situation has pluses, but certain small minuses. You know, this is real life. After first, yes, when we had a euphorism about everything. The second contact with USAID was next spring. So more than half year passed, and we expected certain realistic steps. Every businessman must understand that sometimes something calls for some time and some efforts from your side, because business used to have everything to do everything fast, quick. USAID, this is a big structure, and sometimes it is over formalized. And we must understand that sometimes we must be systematic, we must be very clear, very, say, integral work. So when it started, means that it's already on the run, means it was first experience for us. The US market is something new for us, it is very competitive. I do not say that it is something very, very tough, but these situations, they are very interesting for business, and we are now expecting having certain experience after the first September New York Fashion Week. Now we are equipped, we know how to do and what to do, thanking to Jen, because we understand now how to build up our collection, how to pilot, and what is the preferences of American people. So we are now going to the next stage.
Experience with USAID and of course the New York Fashion Week, and thankfully she's here in Ukraine and helping us to do this again. So anyway, I'm going to speak next to Alina, of course.
Hello.
Hi, darling.
Hello.
And I just want to talk to you. I mean, your brand has been around. Of course, you've told me your grandmother has been making shoes in Ukraine since 1957.
Yeah.
Which I think is incredible. And you obviously are a huge success here in this country. But can you talk to us a bit about your first order, which you know is like very near and dear to my heart, from New York Fashion Week? Alina got her first order from a store in Wichita, Kansas, which actually I'm from Kansas City, so it was kind of like this Destino moment.
It's a blessing.
It was a blessing. It really was. So talk to the audience about your experience and what you learned, and how you're feeling about it.
Which better, Ukrainian, English?
You can speak whatever you like.
I'm just trying to understand, like, who is watching us.
Probably Ukrainians.
Probably
I would say,
Ukrainians.
yeah, I would
okay.
say speak Ukrainian.
Okay, I wanted to try my English as always, but okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna do it in Ukrainian.
Okay, perfect.
Для нас це взагалі...
For us, it was kind of a very cool step, thanking to Tanya, to Jen, why and how we managed to be in this New York Fashion Week, because USAID, they opened opportunities for some other brands other than RITO to take part in this showroom, because for us, like a brand inspired, we are rather big and we have great sales in Ukraine, but financially to run a full-scale showroom in New York, for us it's still yet not accessible, because financially it is too dear for us. And this chance of support from USAID was great, it was very cool. And again, next specific of that is everything went smoothly and quickly, so we expected not first, say, orders in that showroom just to demonstrate, to expose ourselves to the market and to listen to the feedback for our products.
I know.
For everybody to understand properly our expectation from that first showroom, we were not expecting that we will have first order in this first showroom, just to flash our reputation and to show our brand, to have a feedback. Several dozens of buyers, they familiarized with our product, and among 100 brands, they understood that There's another one, not bad, and is it wearable and not wearable? So at least they saw us, so to say. So it was a great showroom because that segment, that brand segment, was very nicely compiled. We are not speaking about luxury brands because we won't be, say, welcome in that segment. So we just hit the proper segment, price segment in the market. So we were interested in people who are working with a proper price category, proper personal income people, so to say. So, and when Jen came back and she said, wow, you have the first order. We didn't expect that. And it was great. So we'll ship it in January. This is great beginning. For you to understand, when you enter kind of a showroom or new market, you expect that you will have 1,000 orders, but think twice because you could not be prepared for that sometimes. So when we have time to, say, check, to test our hypotheses, and we expect that we'll have certain clients, and next will take half year, and we prepare room for next jump, next surge of our products. So we are now preparing markets 22, 23 steps. It will be an entering international global market.
The iconic product, I hope, for the whole world. І тому ось така от історія, шикарна, унікальна можливість.
That was a great opportunity, great chance, and I am grateful to Tanya, to USAID, to Jen, to everybody who were involved in this, including Ukrainian Fashion Alliance or Ukrainsky Modny Alliance. So it is great, super cool that that's an opportunity for everybody to submit an application. Please don't miss your chance. This is my message to everybody who watch us. I want to add to Alina message. My great advice to everybody: just try your skills. But working with Jen, as an advisor, consultant like Jen, it should be systematic work. As soon as you understand when you are ready to go out of the borders of Ukraine, you must have proper production lines. You must plan everything beforehand. To expect something, you should have line sheets. You must have everything prepared. And of course, this is work or activity that calls for systematic and planned activity, planned work. And of course, when you come to very big markets like US markets, it calls for daily work, intensive work.
Give you a mic. This is Iryna from FOBERINI. Like I was telling you from the beginning, she's really the person who keeps the Vyshyvanka alive, but of course takes it to the next level. And also I have to say her brand was so well received by the buyers at New York Fashion Week. And she did open a store as well in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is great. So you can just tell us a bit about your experience and what you thought and what you learned. And we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you, Jane. I will follow also Ukraine. So you will not understand what
maybe one day for me.
Добре.
All right. I would like to share my experience. The issue is that FOBERINI brand participates in international shows since 2017. We have been participating. We were participating in Paris trade shows in trade shows, we have some experience and we understand very well the system, how it works. We had to establish the process, and it took us several years to do so, because every time you come to a trade show, you learn something new, and when you come back home to Ukraine, you build new processes and correct your mistakes. Actually, this time when we went to New York, Jen helped us to avoid the mistakes and to spend less, actually. And it was very important, you know. Also, when the brand, when you take a brand to trade show, you're looking for buyers, for contacts, and it is not just you're going to hoping to meet someone, but you have to have some leads for meetings, and this work was done by Jen. She compiled lists of buyers who visited our showroom and saw our collections, and it's a big work that she has done, because we work with the buyers, but a big part of work with buyers was done by Jen, and it was very interesting. And as she said, we have already received some orders, and it's a big surprise that we didn't just we didn't go to show ourselves, but also to find clients.
International market. But one of the biggest pluses for us also was in coverage in Ukrainian media market. And this was thanks to Ukrainian Fashion Alliance, to the work of Natalka Mikolska and UYAVA Fashion, and it was huge. The coverage in Ukraine was amazing also, and it was very big. So we received, so of course, the top was Women's Wear Daily, yeah, where we saw the brand name and the pictures from our last campaign and so on, and the stories about our brand, about RITO, FOBERINI, us, elenareva, who were presented for the first showroom, but also the coverage in Ukraine, you know, it was highlighted, and I would like also to say a huge thank you to Natalka Mikolska, who worked very hard for this, and it was also why it's cool for us, because of course, how it works. When Ukrainian audience hears about you, that you've been presented at New York Fashion Week, during New York Fashion Week, it works for us. So, yeah. And people are getting excited. Wow, New York Fashion Week. So, okay, I can go and look what you are doing there, you know? And so it works both sides.
So it helps to boost your brand globally, but then also here at your own marketplace.
Yes, also for some people, it's important to hear that you are successful abroad or you've been shown abroad,
right,
to come here to your local store and like just put a site on your products. Okay, I'll watch it. So this is how it works.
Good.
This is one of the pluses also.
Okay, I love that. That's great to hear. I hadn't even heard that feedback yet. So we do have a lot of people joining us online today. So I am going to open it up to some questions from the audience. So if you pop it into your browser, I think there's a place where you can type some questions in. If you have questions for myself or any of the guests, please let us know. And I am going to take a look and see if I have a question. Nothing yet, so people don't be scared to ask questions. So anyway, we're also here, I guess part 2 of this is really to talk about what's next.
What's next?
What's next?
We don't know actually. Ми не знаємо, що далі.
So
we don't know what next.
Exciting. I mean, you know, I only got hooked up with USAID, I think it was in July of last year. I mean, you and I had been working together before that, but in a very, very short time, they, you know, so generously made this grant happen for these Ukrainian fashion brands, and they liked it so much and thought it was such a success that we will be continuing this and doing it again, thanks to RITO. In February 2022. This time we will have a bit more time to see and preview and talk about even further fashion brands in the industry. So next week we will be launching an application. I can tell you it is not hard to fill out, I promise. It will be in all languages. And it's really just for us to get a feel of where you are and where you're sitting with your brand. I mean, do you export yet? So we can make sure that you will have some success, either in terms of the buyers that come to New York Fashion Week, or of course the media, which, you know, Alina talked about is such an important piece of the puzzle. So we will be announcing that online. And it really is great. I mean, we can talk a little bit about, like, I don't know if any of you have tried to go to a trade show on your own and show, but it is quite an expensive thing to do it on your own, correct?
I can explain how it costs.
Talk about this? Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Ira, how much does it cost?
Окей. Якщо говорити про те, що бренд може
Speaking about a brand going to a trade show by itself, how much does it cost? For example, a little corner, 4 by 7 meters, it costs about 10,000 euro to rent it. Then you need to rent a mirror, it's about 80 euro, plus a chair, 30 euro more, and you see on the video, you see how the how apparel is presented on a trade show. Each chair costs additional money. We receive only empty space and we fill it in with rented things. We cannot bring them on ourselves. And the show starts at 9 a.m. and finishes late at night, and you need about 2 or 3 people to stay in the corner, and so you have to pay for their accommodation, you have to pay for their flight, and you need to think about renting an apartment in Paris for them, plus meals, so it is quite expensive. And I would say that when we talk with the representatives of various countries on a trade show, many of them receive support from their governments. I met 2 brands from Ukraine on a trade show, and we talked to them, and they were all attending the fashion show at their own expense. And in other countries, 30%, 50%, even 70% of cost is covered by the government. And in our case, it is assistance, and we're very happy that USAID covered 100% of our cost. And thank you, Tatiana, for bringing us into this project. Actually, we have to be grateful to the USAID, all of us, because nothing comes as an accident. We wanted to export, to go to enter foreign markets, and we've had some experience. And it is very important that, except for that, well, yes, money is important. I agree that even if we all put money together in the same pot to organize a joint showroom, we wouldn't be able to cover the costs altogether. But also it is important that we have a person who is familiar with the fashion environment, and she knows the people whom to invite, she knows the experts, and this really gave us a shortcut to our potential clients. And all pieces of the puzzle came together, and we're very grateful to the USAID for that. Because when we come to fashion shows, we know that it is a very rare case that you will get clients at once. And we're very happy that all these components coming together helped us to cut this way to first orders. Imagine you have a buyer working for 10, 15 years on the market. They know the brands, and they usually buy from those brands. And you have suddenly you see someone new. Imagine you're walking along the street, and there is a new shop. And what you do, you normally walk by, and what you need is a recommendation, a reference from a friend and a person to tell you, look, there is a nice new shop that just opened, and they sell very delicious croissant or whatever, cheese, and it is very important to get to know a place or a brand to start buying it. And I wanted to add that during the meeting with buyers, Alina, like Alina mentioned, a newly opened cafe or a newly opened restaurant. How buyers do? They walk by, and if something is interesting for them, they ask questions, they take a business card, and they tell you, well, see you next year. We will see your new collection in the next year. They want to understand. Maybe it's they don't want to see just a new pop-up brand. They want to see a regular brand. They want to see the trend. They want to see how the brand maintains the style within the collection. They want to see the brand able to stick to the market, to be on the market for a long time. And this is the brand to have some serious talks with.
I think, give this one to you, Alina, because we've had a lot of conversations about this. So somebody was asking about the factors in their success, of course, due to production capacity. So we know all about this. And I think they also want to be sure that if they participate in New York Fashion Week, that they don't have to have this huge production capacity to be able to participate. But you can maybe talk a little bit about what you're doing to fix that, maybe.
Так, тобто ми, наприклад, коли перший раз, коли ми у вересні погодилися взяти участь.
Yes, when we in September, when we agreed to participate in New York Fashion Week, you are not showing the seasonal collection, the collection of this season. You're showing the collection of the upcoming season, and if you don't have enough production capacity to fulfill your order, and you have some new orders, you have time to process it. What we did was normally our demand exceeds our supply, and this is good. And we usually have to bring our production capacities up to the demand. And when we received the new order, we realized that we are competitive, and we are able to be competitive in the US market. And what I did during the last month, I was looking for contractors, for subcontractors, because now we are expanding production capacities of our factory. We have systemic changes. Now we have 100 people employed by our factory, and we are planning to hire 20 people more, and we are posting announcements in rayon centers, gluing them on walls. And it is quite difficult to find 20 seamstresses for shoes in Zhytomyr. It is quite difficult. During this time, we tested 3 or 4 factories in Ukraine. We signed the first contracts with Turkish factories for production to start the new lead and be able to ensure the potential supply, the potential demand. And I tell you what, you have to move from 2 directions. The first direction is your ambition. You want to sell abroad, and the other direction is your real numbers. You have to find a potential contractor who is able to sew a certain number of pairs of shoes. So you know your capacity, how big an order you can fulfill. So you need to know you need to have the contacts, and I think I shared all the life hacks that I have, and because some of you may have bigger production capacities, but don't have the sales channel, and you produce 20% more.
If we are speaking about my production line, for instance, if we understand that we must increase our yield, so to say. So we are now working with the College of Light Industry, so we take undergraduates to have in-job training. And by the way, this is fantastic because this is a College of Applied Industries in Ukraine. So everything depends on the personality, and the supervisor of that college, she's very creative, and she's, may I give you another example? Hanna Volodymyrovna, she's a principal in that school, in that college, and she asked me to take part in accession commission, so to say. It was 9 to 10 students defending their diploma. They were modeliers for footwear. So they work for 6 months already in my company. So I was bold enough to take on board 2 19 years old man and lady. This is fresh blood, you know, this is great. My mom as well, she graduated from the same college, and she told me that the college was much more useful for her than university education. So this is a great place when you can find a good employer.
Fashion industry is that I have to say, I mean, all of you have completely impressed me in how quickly you can make goods. I mean, being a buyer for many, many years, I've really not seen, you know, companies be able to produce orders. I mean, you can produce orders, you've told me, in 8 to 10 weeks, which, you know, in the world is actually quite unheard of. And I mean, you produced some blankets for a hotel in California in what, like 2 weeks or something.
We are disruptors in the world's harmony.
And I love
and
this.
balance in business.
I love disruptors. So we do have another question from the audience. It's probably a little bit more for me, but I will certainly let you all talk if you decide you want to answer it. So the person is wondering how to attract attention from buyers and what is the most important criteria for buyers. I mean, in my opinion, and you know, we did learn a lot from this Fashion Week, is really to be doing something different. I mean, the buyers are really, at this point in time, looking for something new to add to their stores. So if they're gonna add a new brand, they want it to be something that they're not already carrying. I think that's why, you know, the Vyshyvankas were so popular, and Alina's boots were so popular because it was something new. So, I mean, if I would just challenge you as brands to, you know, stay with what you really think is best and what is your DNA. I mean, obviously, like, you know, RITO makes the most amazing knitwear. So just, stay focused in your niche, and I think you can be successful.
І мені здається, тут класно обирати бестселери. Тобто кожен
And I believe that it will be great if you find bestsellers, because everybody knows what is bestseller in your brand, but it's not 100% true, because sometimes the market would like to have its own bestsellers. So for the first time you travel there, then it will be very useful to have an advice from such person as Jen, because she knows the market and she could give you a piece of advice what could be selling greatly in the US market, because in many times markets and tastes differ. So this was our first visit to New York Fashion Week, and it was very interesting experience for us. Now we understand very clearly what could be on demand in American market and what will not definitely be on demand. Of course, it is very important to try to apply, not to be scared of working there with different programs of USAID, because they have plenty of programs. Even now you are able to submit your application to this program. I'd like to add something, because we were speaking about bestsellers. We work for 7 years with FOBERINI brand, and we are represented in 30 countries plus our garment and apparel, and we have rather wide range of knowledge about bestsellers in different countries. I could tell you that for Ukraine, Vyshivanka is a national pride, so to say. We are proud of Vyshivankas. You were speaking about, and this is our heritage, of course, speaking about the US, we send in to our buyers resided at St. Bartholomew. This is an island. They make items from very light, transparent stuff made of flax. And this is kind of beach type of clothes. And they even don't understand that Vyshivanka is Ukrainian something, so they just like it. We were speaking about beach collections. Nobody buy it in Ukraine. Speaking about Emirates, of course, the ladies would like to have very long skirts, long gowns, and for your body to be closed. It's very interesting colors, white, blue, light blue, some glossy, etc. We are speaking about Germany or even northern Italy or eastern Italy. Then it will be something different.
And it also is talking about buyers again. It says, did you have any difficulties in cooperating with the buyers you weren't ready for? I mean, in my opinion, from market, really, I would say the hardest thing is to get, of course, the buyers in the door. In September, it was even more challenging, of course, right? Because it was post-COVID. So some of these really big stores were not even still doing in-person appointments yet. So, I mean, we did still do some virtual appointments with people in Canada. And we did send line sheets, of course, to some of the big buyers that were not able to make it in. But I mean, I guess we could talk a little bit about this, Tanya, because, you and I have had this conversation that, I mean, of course, you can show at a market, but you don't always have success your first time. And I mean, we've even talked about that sometimes it can take buyers 3 times to see your brand before they decide that they want to add it to their assortment. So, yeah, so I mean, it's, it is hard, but I will tell you, I do go to the showroom and I do obviously follow through with the orders that were placed and make sure that it's as seamless as we can make it possible with the stores that are going to add your brand to their assortment. So does anyone have anything else to add today?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Звичайно, то що ми можемо говорити з
Alina,
Танею,
yes,
з Іриною.
okay.
Да, я
Yes, I would like to add that, of course, it was to try and try once and once again and apply. And this is an open information now. Next week you will have all the necessary data on how to get to the showroom on February, next February. Yes, we tried first time, and second time we are braver now, and we are prepared now. So this is a great opportunity. That's why I candidly, openly give you advice. Just try it and apply. The more great brands will be present in Ukrainian market, the better will be for everybody. And it will be great for Ukraine as a country, because the more players on global level we have, and somewhere you have Ukraine as a word, Ukraine as a notion, Ukraine, once and once again. So it will be very useful for Ukraine, and buyer will not have any surprise that this is Ukrainian. So jointly we make our joint efforts to say construct or do something, or say do something like a DNA of Ukrainian industry. So probably for 5 years at least you must have certain efforts, and we are only in the beginning of this way, but you have this DNA, common DNA in fashion companies in Ukraine. There's something similar in DNA of that company. I understand that there are a lot of initiative. Jen understands everything, and she is our communicator #1. And once again, I would add that if you feel that you are able, you have a great dream to join this project, first of all, we are open to give you any advice. We may support you and assist you how to prepare better to this event, and how to have the best efficacy or effect out of that showroom. But you must be prepared. You must have a set of photos. You must prepare your line sheets, and we are open to have to give you an advice. I would like to add that Alina already mentioned that in 1 week there will be a start for bids, for applications. In this 1 week, you must have a very difficult work to do in your mind, to play with the finances, because if you sell something for 100 hryvnia and the cost of production is 50 hryvnia, you won't be able to sell it down abroad, because the shops, the stores, they have their own margin, they have markup of their own. So you must take into account everything, logistics costs, a lot of costs. The formula itself is rather lengthy, and before penetration any market, you should understand what it will cost you, and if it is now put already in the price of your product. And again, to build up this line sheet, this is with indication of all the prices. And so we are speaking about retail price recommended and wholesale price. But this wholesale price, we're speaking about stores, about shops. But thank you, Jen, for very loyal conditions, loyal requirements. But showroom as well takes its percentage. And you understand that the price is rocketing after you calculate all that percentages. So if your product could play in Ukrainian market with this price.
It is very important to answer this question for yourself, because when we were lifting our prices and we were entering the foreign market in 2019, we realized that we can be left without Ukrainian customers. And we also have an experience working with the showroom in Paris, and the managers say that about 80% of the results are the nice photos of your collection. It means that when you are sending an invitation to a Japanese buyer who will be at this time in New York Fashion Week, this the photographs of your collection must be attractive, and this buyer may come to your showroom. So the work of the photographer is really needs to be appreciated.
A lot of people out there today watching us. So the next one is a great opportunity for designers, but I can't understand why I didn't see you on the New York Fashion Week schedule in September. Or was it only a private event? So a couple reasons for this, of course. First of all, we did put this together in September in 21 days, which I think is record time, right, to have made this happen. So thankfully, this time we have a lot more time to prepare and announce and engage the media in New York and possibly get on the New York Fashion Week, schedule of events. I will say last time we showed at an incredible showroom. It was called Archetype, and they're a multi-brand showroom. And the reason that we chose this instead of just, a space on our own is because you really want to be around brands that people in the marketplace already know. So there's great, incredible top, all the buyers you want to see coming already into the showroom. So when you're showcasing brands that people don't know as well, you want to be somewhere where there's going to be some built-in traffic.
Ну, участие такой шоурум намного для предприятий, которые являются вот в частности как
the showrooms that are not very well known, the participation in such showroom, in a joint showroom, is much more effective because you get buyers visiting your showroom. The buyers were pre-screened by Jen, and they come to clarify, to ask questions, to clarify some information. And it is much cheaper to participate in such a showroom, and it is more effective in terms of result than just participating in New York Fashion Show of New York.
More about the February opportunity. So again, thanks to USAID and the Competitive Economy Program, we're going to be able to offer this again. You're going to be able to go online and just answer some questions about your brand. Please just be 100% honest. We just kind of want to see where you're sitting. I would also encourage you to try and submit your application. The earlier, the better. We are going to give you almost 2 weeks to be able to submit your application, but I think it should be pretty easy for you to do. And then, I would love to see some new brands. I'm actually going to be in Ukraine until the 17th of this month. So if you go online and submit your application and you're in Kyiv, I would be so happy to come and meet you and take a look at your collection in person. And yeah, we really look forward to doing this again. We certainly hope that you ladies will submit your applications as well. And yeah, it's a really exciting opportunity for people to start to export and grow their brands internationally. So does anyone have any famous last words?
Ну, самое главное, если у вас есть мечта, и у вас есть...
The main thing is to have a dream. You have a dream, you have a desire to talk to the world, to get to know. You have to make the first step. You don't have to be afraid. You have financial support from the USAID. You have the support from Jen, and you have us. We are open, and we will be happy to answer all your questions, all the questions you have. You have to risk it.
This country and its fashion industry welcoming me so much into it. And of course, as you ladies know, you will certainly be friends of mine for life. So thanks for very much changing my life. And I hope to help to change yours as well. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll hope to see your application.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, bye, thank you.
Дякую.